Hey, what's good? Welcome back to the channel. If you clicked on this video, you're here to see some awesome decking of a Jon Boat, or any boat for that matter. We're doing wood decking. So I'm gonna try my best to deliver that to you guys as promised by the thumbnail and title of this video. I've got my 1436 Jon Boat right behind me. I finished all of the framing, some turfing, but did all the electrical. It's really ready. Built a live well, did control panels, the whole 9 yards, and it's time to deck this thing out. We've got aluminum framing with wood decking. I went with this combination primarily for two reasons. One, this is a boat that I'm not keeping. I'm actually going to sell this when I'm all done with it, which leads right into number two, price. Cost of materials have skyrocketed. The times that we live in, materials just cost like triple to quadruple the regular price. So going with wood decking is economical. The price of wood actually just went down, so I'm really excited about that. I mean, it really went down for some sheeting. That's the wood right there, 1/2 inch fir, plywood sheeting. And yeah, just gonna make it happen. First thing I need to do is get this thing all measured up. And I'm gonna use cardboard primarily to do my templates for the different pieces. Right now I'm gonna do a first piece that'll go right to about right here. One of the reasons why I'm doing that is because I want to be mindful of where my hatch openings are and the pressure that's received at that joint. It's something that I learned from doing my first boat. So the idea is to relieve some of the pressure. And the pressure I'm talking about is from opening, closing hatches constantly. Your pressure points is where the hinge is and the wood right behind the hinge. And you don't want to leave too thin of a space by your hatch openings because it'll lift up, it could possibly crack over time and so on. So on this boat, taking lessons moving forward, the idea is to bring the first sheet to here. That will leave me 3 inches of wood on the other side for this hatch, okay? I don't have a hatch on this side, so it makes it a little bit easier. I got room to play with even more, but that's the idea. So first sheet will go right here. Second sheet, we'll probably do this entire second piece. I don't know yet, we'll see. Or the other option is to run it like, I don't know, somewhere maybe here maybe, and then do a third piece there. This will have wood flooring right here, and of course a rear deck. That's gonna be a nice size rear deck for this boat. Covering up the live well, got a hatch here and all that, but we'll get into all that. So this is a decking video. Hopefully you guys get some great tips out of this. Let's get started. So I've got my first piece all done. What you saw me doing on this second piece, I just wanted to point out one of the key steps to getting a good cut that contours your boat properly is to hold and I'll do it on this side, I did this side already, is to hold it up above the boat and use the gunnel as a guide and just trace your gunnel. All right, that will give you the right shape contortion to cut the cardboard. And when you're done, the cardboard goes perfectly along the line with very minimum gap for your template, all right? What I did on the other side is the same thing. I used the same piece. Luckily for me, this one piece covers the entire width of the boat. So I hung it over that side. I traced underneath it, and I'm gonna cut that as well. And then what I'll do is I'll score this down the middle, because when I slide that into the boat, it'll overlap here, which I want. I actually want that to be the case. Also, it'll be hard to cut that at the exact place so that when you slide it down, this is in line, that's in line, everything's in line. So go ahead and score it. If you got a long enough piece to just do it in one piece, that's great. And then cut it right down the center, overlap it as you slide that piece inside the boat. And then we'll just use some box tape, tape it all together. That'll be the piece for here. One step that I will do is I need an overlap between this piece of cardboard and this piece right here. This deck will be in 2 sections. That's one whole piece. And then this second half of the front deck will be another piece. Once I get it sized up from the width of the boat, I'll take it off. I'll put this up to this piece off the boat, flip it over, and then cut it so that I have the exact same cut here to here. All right, this piece the joint will match this piece. That's so that there are no gaps between the two pieces of decking in the end. Hopefully I'm explaining this so you guys understand or get the idea. And I'll do the same thing for this last piece right here to join up that piece of cardboard with the piece that I'll have done for this piece. All right, just some neat little tips to get you through that. Speeds up the process of getting your cardboard templates. The first piece I did it the old school way, which I don't even know why I did it that way. And I was shoving my finger down and making the creases and drawing the lines. Don't do it that way. Hold your cardboard over the side of the boat, cut it, put it in there. It saves you a tremendous amount of time doing it that way. What I like to do here is overlap the cardboard and join the overlap pieces together using box tape. This allows you to join up your different pieces so you can make your cuts. As always, don't forget to label the cardboard so you won't lose track of the orientation of your deck as you make your cuts. Oftentimes during the decking process, you'll realize that you need to add additional support to the framing that you did. We had to do this for this boat because of where the first sheet of decking ended. We needed to install a couple extra pieces of aluminum angle, but don't worry, this is normal. So if you end up doing the same, it's better to do it before you put all the time and effort into doing your decking. Something unique to this boat, and others who have a boat like this might experience the same thing, with how this front deck planes out to the rest of the boat. And this comes into play with doing the decking. When I got this boat, I noticed right away that the front deck, instead of going straight towards the bow of the boat, it goes at a slope and it slopes down. So from here on back, it slopes downwards. So to compensate for that, we installed the same type of rails that we have on the side of the boat and installed it at the front, two pieces, and just slanted it down so that when we bring the wood, I'm gonna pretend this cardboard is the actual wood decking, it's gonna rest right on top of the rail right there, okay? So just wanted to show you guys that, an extra step to do on this boat. Another option would have been to build a casting deck off of the lower part of the front deck right here. So instead of having the deck start up top and plane back, install the deck down here. That way you could run the deck from maybe the top of the bench and bring it to the bottom of this front deck, and it would work out. I didn't want to do it that way because I didn't want to sacrifice space underneath the deck for storage. I wanted the deck raised up, which would, one, keep you higher off the water, better casting, better flipping and pitching, as well as increase your storage underneath the deck. So if those two things aren't a concern to you, again, you can just install the deck off the bottom section of the front deck, and you should be okay. But this was a quick, easy, simple solution for that, and I'm glad it went this way. I'll probably continue to go this route for any boats I have where the front deck slopes downwards towards the bow of the boat. This part right here really isn't a part of creating the decking. During this build, I forgot to mark where I needed to drill the hole for the drain for the trolling motor foot tray. To compensate, I had to make measurements from underneath the boat to the center of the rib of the boat where the drain tube needs to align to. And trust me, this was pretty nerve-wracking to do it this way and get it 100% right, but we did. I just wanted to share this moment with you guys because it was a huge moment in the build, something that was hounding me in the back of my mind for a very long time, knowing I need to get this done. So after we cut the hole out, this is our unedited reaction to the results.
Bam! Right in the middle!
Warren, look at that.
I saw it.
Wow. I will never put myself through that again.
Nope.
That's been in the back of my mind for months. All right, it's finally time now to start cutting some wood. Long overdue, long awaited. I've been trying to come out here for the last 3 days, but every time I come out here, I find something else that I need to do. Finishing touches, just some final things, maybe adding a little framing here and there for extra support, or drilling a hole, or adding a little foam here. But got all that done. Tied up all loose ends. Got a little workstation over here. I'm gonna get these templates brought over and start cutting some wood. A nice finishing touch I like to do is to plane down the edge of the decking. This isn't completely necessary, but in the end assures us that the edge of the decking is fully aligned with the sidewalls of the boat. Just gives a nice touch and also gives it that professional finish in the end. One thing I want to point out, and I'll do it over here because I have a lot of lines over there. I'll explain that in a second. This is the actual hatch lid. We're looking at the underbelly of the deck. So there's 3 lines over here. First line is the actual cutout, the opening for the hatch itself. The second line is where we'll actually cut. And this will be, and it's cut over because you want to create a lip for your hatch lid to rest on. If you don't do that and you cut on this first line right here for the actual opening, your hatch lid will fall right through, and that obviously won't work. We're cutting 3/4 of an inch over so that the lid can rest on the track, on the framing. And then on this side, we have a 1/2 inch gap for the carpet. So that's the next line that you wanna put here, is to be able to gap for your carpet. And that's to account for the thickness of your carpet. If you don't do that, your lid might not close or it'd be very difficult to close and so on. So down here, always think twice about the space in between 2 hatches right next to each other. I typically like to have at least 1 inch to be able to screw the deck down, secure the deck down to the framing. In order for us to have 1 inch between these 2 hatches, we went with a 1/2 inch overhang on both sides for the lid to rest on the frame and a 1/2 inch gap for the carpet, okay? So we probably made a mistake here or there and just had to do it over. That's why you see a bunch of lines. Don't try to figure out all these lines, just understand the concept. Over here is much more simple. Nothing on this side. This is all decking. Much easier when you're gapping and there's nothing over here versus you have less room to work with. Of course, what you can do is frame out as wide as you can for your boat to give you more space to work with here. So that's always something else you can do, is maybe use 3 strips of aluminum. What's that, 4.5 inches? You'll have 4.5 inches to work in between the hatches. And this is more for wood hatches because you have to secure the deck down separate. If you were doing aluminum hatches, you would have sheeted it with aluminum and then drop hatch lids in. From Dates Custom Boats, TB Nation Outdoors. Wanted to just show you guys and explain a very critical step if you're doing wood decking. Definitely think through 2 things: your track that goes around for your lid to rest on, and how much you need to gap for carpet, depending on the grade carpet you have, which ultimately means the thickness of your carpet. Account for that. All pieces are cut out. Got all my gappings for the hatch lids, as you can see. Recessed trolling motor opening there. In some places I had to go with a smaller gap for carpeting just based on the actual framing. One of the things you want to make sure is that you don't create too thin of a piece of wood in between the 2 hatches. The smallest I would go is 1 inch, and to me that's pushing it. I've done as small as 1/2 inch, and sometimes when you're lifting up the hatch lid, because it's carpeted, it tends to try to lift this up as well. Also, when this part is very narrow, it's hard to secure it to the deck because you don't want to split it screwing down screws through that. So if you can maintain at least 1 inch or greater, 2 inches would be ideal, or at least 1.5 inches. I think my thinnest piece right here, this is 1 inch. Long story short, for some of the hatches, I gapped it a little bit smaller, and I might have to do some carpet shaving just to make sure that everything flows smoothly, opening and closing the hatches, but we'll cross that bridge later. Cockpit area, all done. Got 1 piece of board up there, and the rear deck is done as well. One last key thing to do is label all your lids. Don't just label the top surface, label underneath as well. I can already see I need to label that one left hatch, this one right. I did it underneath, but I did not do it. See, it says right, not making this up. I would say all the measuring, cutting, shaving, sanding, etc. easily took a good 30+ hours to do all of this. This is a process I've repeated on different boats, which has proven to be a great technique for wood decking. I do get a lot of questions on how to deck out your boat. Hopefully this video helps you out. One thing I didn't show in this video because it'd be too long was how we cut out 3 hatches that we didn't have access underneath the hatch to trace out the hatch lid. My brother Warren came up with a great technique using the existing framing to make precise cuts for the hatch lids. But don't worry, I'll share that in a separate dedicated video. From there we moved on to sealing the wood as well as laying down the carpet and securing down the deck with stainless steel self-tapping screws. We also installed struts, latches, hinges, and if you guys want to see a detailed video on any of that stuff, leave a comment below and we'll get it posted on the channel. In the end, everything turned out awesome. Looked very professional, and I'm very excited to bring the reveal video of this boat build to you soon. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more great boat mod and fishing content. Till then, we'll see you on the next video.